We all know Monopoly as the classic family board game where you buy properties, build hotels and crush your opponents. But what if I told you that Monopoly wasn't always meant to be fun? In fact, its original purpose was far more serious and even a bit radical. Let's uncover the shocking history of Monopoly's original purpose. Monopoly wasn't always the game of wealth and power it's known as today. It was actually created in the early 20th century to teach a lesson about the dangers of monopolies, greed and unchecked capitalism. That's right, Monopoly was originally designed as a warning, not a celebration. It all started with a woman named Elizabeth Magie. In 1904, she created a game called the Landlord's Game, which would later evolve into what we know as Monopoly. But Magie's game wasn't about getting rich. It was about showing how landlords and monopolists could destroy the economy and harm ordinary people. She wanted to teach the world a harsh truth, that when one person holds all the property, everyone else suffers. The Landlord's Game was revolutionary for its time. It had two sets of rules. One set was the prosperity rules, where wealth was shared and everyone benefited. The other set was the monopolist rules, where one player would dominate and bankrupt everyone else. Sound familiar? Magie's point was simple. The monopolist rules, the ones that became the modern game, were meant to show the dangers of greed and unchecked capitalism. As players amassed wealth, everyone else struggled. The game was designed to make people feel how harmful monopolies could be. It was a sharp critique of the capitalist system, and for a while it spread among academics and left-wing communities who understood its deeper message. But that message wouldn't last. Fast forward a few decades to the 1930s. The Great Depression was hitting hard, and people were desperate for an escape. A man named Charles Darrow claimed to have invented the game and pitched it to Parker Brothers, who saw dollar signs in the concept. They bought the rights, but what they were really buying was Elizabeth Magie's creation. Darrow's version stripped away the anti-capitalist message and focused on the thrill of acquiring wealth and bankrupting your friends. Monopoly was rebranded and mass-marketed as a celebration of wealth and power. Parker Brothers turned it into a game where you could become the monopolist, and winning meant owning everything. The original message? Lost in the shuffle. And ironically, the game became a massive commercial success, making millions for Parker Brothers, exactly the kind of monopoly Elizabeth Magie had warned against. Over the years, Monopoly has become one of the most popular games in the world. Families gather around the table to compete for riches, unaware that the game was once a critique of the very system it now glorifies. The irony: Monopoly went from being an anti-capitalist teaching tool to becoming a symbol of capitalist success. It's a game where you revel in the very monopolies that destroy competition and crush the little guy. So, how did we get here? How did Monopoly go from a cautionary tale to a celebration of greed and domination? It's a question that speaks volumes about the power of marketing and the ability to rewrite history. Monopoly was never supposed to be about fun or riches. It was a warning, a game designed to make us question the very systems we live under. But today it's a global phenomenon, a game that makes us want to become the monopolist. So the next time you sit down to play Monopoly, ask yourself, how did we go from playing a game that condemned monopolies to one that celebrates them? And what does that say about us today? It's a question worth pondering while you're bankrupting your friends and taking over the board.